time. All right. Good morning, everyone. We got a great episode for you today. We're going to be talking with the creators of the viral TikTok mount, the Nexus Mount. The creators are Brandon and Morgan Miller. So stick around, and it's going to be a good show. You'll learn a lot. All right, guys. Good to have you on. I have been excited for this episode for weeks now, even though you guys had to reschedule at one point. I'm excited about this. So go ahead and let's get started with just kind of learning who you guys are. So if Morgan, if you want to get started first, tell us who you are and just kind of a little bit about you. Yeah.
I'm Morgan Miller. We are originally from the Lake Charles area. Had a lot of different careers, but my most recent, I was the business manager for my friend who does permanent cosmetics at Southern Vanity in Lake Charles. So
Nice.
that my background is not in business at all. It is in science, and then I was a teacher for 7 years. But working for her, I learned a lot about running a business, which ultimately ended up helping us
Right.
at this point.
Yeah. Well, Brandon, tell us who you are.
Brandon Miller. I grew up in a very small town, Reeves, Louisiana. Went to Delta Tech for drafting and design. Graduated in 2007 and went into work in the pipe design field for petrochemical facilities. Been doing that for 17 years, and just always kind of wanted to own our own business and invent something. And turns out it was after our kids started travel ball.
Yeah, so this is a cool product. We'll just start diving into the product itself. It's the Nexus Mount. First of all, the word Nexus is kind of one that's, it's the beginning of something essentially, or like it's the core. But what does Nexus mean? What does the name Nexus mean to you guys?
Actually, when I was coming up with the name for the product, I didn't want a traditional, name that would, I wanted something unique, not tied down to Louisiana or anything like that, because I wanted it to be universal and be able to sell, to a wide variety. Essentially, I got on Google and started Googling words, and apparently there was Nexus. It came up, and it was the common link between two entities or something like that. Some, paraphrasing, but
Really?
and being that I wanted a mount that held a phone and a battery pack, I thought that was a good fit. And with the X being dead center in the middle of the word, it allowed me to use basically a chain link cross section to be a part of the logo.
Well, we'll show that logo in a little bit here. So you guys mentioned that, Morgan, you said you were from the Lake Charles area originally. I can tell it in the accents for sure. It's definitely not from Lafayette. So do you guys live in Lafayette Parish right now?
No, Calcasieu.
No, we live in Lake Charles.
Yes.
Wow.
Lafayette does have a really special place in our heart because after Hurricane Laura, our youngest already had surgery scheduled with an ENT here. Is getting his tonsils out. And so after the hurricane hit, they called me the next day and they're like, look, if you can find a place to live in Lafayette, we'll proceed with the surgery. But since Lake Charles didn't even have emergency services or anything, she said, you can't leave Lafayette if that's going to be the case. So we rented a house right here, like by Cajun Dome Boulevard, and we lived there for a month. Our youngest actually started their first day of kindergarten at Our Lady of Fatima. And we're here almost every weekend. Like, we're here this morning, we'll go back home, get our youngest, and then we'll come back tomorrow for a game in Crowley. So we're in Lafayette almost every weekend.
Jeez, that is wild. Okay, so travel ball. For those that don't know what travel ball is, obviously it's like tournament style. You probably have to go to multiple different cities. How did you guys get started in travel ball? Obviously, your kids are in it, but like, what led to that?
Friends, family members, their kids did it, somewhat pushed us to see our kids play, and they thought that they would be a good fit for it, and, suckered us into it, really.
And you have to stay in hotels and all that stuff sometimes overnight?
Yes and no. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, depending on times. But yeah, our oldest loved baseball, and so the rec league, he enjoyed that, but it just wasn't enough. It's not long enough, so
Yeah.
he wanted to play more, and so that's how we got into it. But yeah, like.
And then the youngest one just has to keep up with him, so he,
Yeah.
it was a no-brainer that he was going to start.
Okay, yeah. So I didn't. I'll be honest. I did not realize that you guys didn't live here. This is great. So now I learned something from you guys, definitely that I did not know, because we have several sports complexes in the Lafayette Parish area that are like well known. Apparently, the Youngsville Sports Complex is a popular one. Then the Broussard Sports Complex, St. Julian, that's a growing one, and there's tons of travel ball teams that come there, tournaments, these big time things. And my little boy, he's in t-ball, and he just got out of the regular season, and we got messaged. They use GroupMe app, and so we were messaged on there asking if we'd be interested in All-Stars, because Bennett was that's my son's name, Bennett, and he was selected to try out for All-Stars. I'm like, All-Stars, like I played ball when I was little. I don't know if I remember being in All-Stars. I don't know if I was that good.
That's where it starts.
Yeah.
So do we just need to leave this with you?
Oh my Lord.
But one thing I did want to say, it's when you did your interview with Mr. Don Giles, you asked him, what is Lafayette doing right in business-wise in their growth? And one thing that Lafayette is absolutely doing right is the sports tourism. If it's not us specifically, within our group of friends, at least one of our families is in the Lafayette area every weekend. If it's in Youngsville and Broussard are phenomenal. They're great areas, but even Scott, Karen Crow, Crowley, all of these other small places, just because they're turf fields, they'll come and have tournaments there, and they can host them there. And that's whole families coming, spending money here, money at the restaurants, in the hotels, running to Academy here instead of the one in Lake Charles, running to Dick's and, all of that here. And so that is one thing Lafayette is absolutely doing right. We surely don't have that. We keep trying to express that to Lake Charles people, like, hey, we leave Lake Charles every weekend and we come and we're spending our money in Lafayette.
So Lake Charles doesn't have a sports field or anything like of the caliber?
Not of the caliber, no. They have sports facilities. They have turf fields. They're just not...
they're minimal.
Yeah, they're very minimal. And even the ones that they do have, there's only a few fields at each one. Typically, like in the Lafayette area, a tournament will group complexes together and have one tournament, but it might be spread out from Karen Crow to Youngsville, anywhere like that.
Even Abbeville.
Abbeville. We played in Eunice before. So it's just a lot larger area, and to hold a lot more people, Lake Charles area has the capabilities, and it is growing, but there are a ton of people trying to push this sports tourism to that area because 100% of the time, whenever we come to the Lafayette area, typically we're playing Lake Charles area teams, so yes. Yeah.
So you guys are leaving Lake Charles to play Lake Charles teams.
Yes.
That does not that makes zero sense. Okay. So you expressed, Morgan, that you were trying to somehow push for Lake Charles to be more active or more into the sports tourism. What would need to happen, or what would you need to do, or who would need to do it to make that happen? Like, what does that look like?
Well, the current mayor, Nick Hunter, I'm a fan of his. He is doing a lot. He is making a lot of progress. But again, he's the mayor. It's directly the city limits.
Yeah.
But the parish as a whole, there are certainly the facilities there, but they're dirt fields and grass. And you can't host tournaments on that because if it rains, you're done. Whereas when we're playing on turf, you can still proceed with the tournament and that. And just making the resources there. Turf the fields. I know Moss Bluff, everything got destroyed in the hurricane because that's actually where we live in Moss Bluff. But the whole rec field, they have the space and it all got destroyed. They redid some of it. They redid brick backstops and, net backstops and everything. But there's no bleachers. There's no covered things. I think they redid the concession stands and stuff. Yeah. But this could make you so much money, and that's money for your restaurants there locally to help keep them up, but they aren't doing that. So then these people that live, the residents, are leaving and spending their money elsewhere.
And there's not a surplus of hotels in the area, but just like whenever we stay in Lafayette, typically we stay 10-15 minutes from the fields anyway. Lake Charles from Moss Bluff, 10-15 minutes, you're at a hotel. So, and the facilities in Moss Bluff, directly Moss Bluff, they have room to expand and better the complexes. So, I mean, you have, the resources, everything is there. We just don't know what the issue is with actually putting it through,
I know the complex in Youngsville is expanding. Whoever is doing that city planning is doing a phenomenal job. Like, they know, because there's baseball there every weekend. There's softball there every weekend. There is soccer. There's volleyball. There are other friends. Even when it's outside of baseball, softball season, volleyball is here down in Youngsville.
And they just invested a lot of money in the pickleball courses.
Yes.
Which is apparently a fast-growing sport that
it's exploding.
Yeah.
We have actually been trying to find a contact in pickleball or in tennis to try to see how we could use the mount in that sport, because it's got the nets around it similar to baseball.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So let me get the sponsors mentioned real quick, so that we can get into the nitty gritty of the mount, because I'm excited to talk about it, and you actually have one here. So first off, we have the Music Academy of Acadiana. They're Acadiana's top music school with classes in piano, guitar, voice, drums, violin, saxophone, flute. If you want to learn audio production, they have all that. Their experienced instructors cater to students of all ages and musical styles. Graduates have excelled in college and major music competitions and even made it on popular TV shows like American Idol and The Voice. Founded by UL Lafayette Music School graduate Tim Benson, they've won national recognition and are consistently voted as a top music school since 2016. Ultimately, their goal is to make music lessons fun, educational, and to help foster the next generation of musicians and creative thinkers. And you can check out their website, musicacademyacadiana.com, or go on Facebook, Instagram, all those good places, and I'm pretty sure TikTok now. I don't know. The singer, the founder is a singer in a emo cover band called The Criers. That's really cool. I know they're on TikTok, so check them out. And then we also have Chase Group Construction. Chase Group takes the lead and becomes your one point of contact for the entire design build process. So if you're looking to build a business, a physical structure, that is, not a business plan, because he's not a business plan guy. He probably could help you there too. But if you're looking to build a physical structure or renovate a structure to build a business in, he can help you with that. They have a diverse portfolio of projects that range from medical to popular restaurants to multi-units, shopping center developments, and all that good stuff. Their website, chasegroupconstruction.com, founded locally by Chase Landry. Great guy, and we appreciate the support. All right. So we got a little bit of the story of how you guys got involved with Ball and how the start of this potential product would have come to be. So at what point did you guys start realizing that you want to do something? Like what led to the creation of the Nexus Mount?
Well, our son started travel ball at 9 years old, and somehow, one person is usually dedicated to streaming the games. That was me. I still don't know the reason, but I'm glad it did happen. But going to the fields, going to the complexes, having issues with trying to mount the phone to the net, to the fence. You come up with all different kind of DIY contraptions to make that happen.
Probably use rubber bands and all that good stuff.
Ponytails, headbands, anything we could find. And then even when I did get a mount that I liked, I had issues with having a battery pack, up there, because you need a battery pack. iPhones, they're going to go dead, streaming like that. GoPros, the same thing.
Yeah.
Looked around everywhere we went. I kept trying to search around, see, okay, what is everybody else using? Do they have something that I haven't found on a Google search yet? Nobody had anything. And I'm thinking, out of all the people that are going, traveling, baseball, softball, anywhere like that, nobody has come up with a viable solution for that. Turned into, hey, I'm going to design one for myself, make it work. We're able to hold a phone and a battery pack. Went through several sketches and designs, hand sketching, built about, I think it was 17 prototypes.
Wow.
Went through a few different designs, and that looked nothing like what's available right now. And once I got the design done and it worked, obviously everybody has issues when the sun is shining on your device.
Oh, yeah,
it's
it
going to
gets hot.
overheat immediately. So the next step was, okay, how can we make a universal cover that will work with any camera, any device that you're trying to use? And that's where the cover came in at. So I went from using ponytails and headbands to, having a prototype, use a prototype for about a half of a season or so, and then started kind of determining whether I really wanted to push it out. Several people told me that I needed to start selling them. I was really
people would see him and ask him about
it. Yeah. I did have one lady that just kept bugging me about making one, Crystal Lede, and she's actually seen me using one in Lake Charles on the field and asked me what it was. Told her that I make them, and she kept on bugging me and said, as soon as you make one and they're available, I want one. So she's customer 001. So she's the OG Nexus Mount user.
Nice.
So yeah.
All right. So you made several prototypes. Excuse me. Was the thought process in the beginning to create a product to sell, or was this just something that you were just just toying with in the beginning?
Essentially just toying with for myself. And, if friends and family or somebody like that would have wanted one, that was the idea.
Yeah.
Hey, I got an idea.
That's typically how stuff starts. Like
right,
that.
exactly.
We are not, neither of us are salespeople.
No.
No, in no way did we ever think like, let's make something that we're going to sell to people, especially across the country. Like that would have never fueled anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a coworker that kind of does the same type stuff. He designs things, sells them. He got a website. He pushed me pretty hard to just put it out there and put some feelers and just see what might happen. Had no idea it would blow up the way that it did. We knew there was somewhat of a hole in the market with the cover. Nobody really has a cover option. So I knew that had the ability to kind of take off, but not in the sense that it has so far.
Yeah.
Let's just say when he did his LLC paperwork and everything in November, he stated the words, if I can average 1 to 2 a week for the year, then it'll be worth it. Thinking he wouldn't sell that many. Like that's our goal. So essentially that's 100 on the year.
Yeah.
And we've surpassed that a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We'll get to the numbers in a little bit here. Okay. So you get into the prototype stage, you're fine tuning your little contraption, your apparatus,
right?
And there's obviously you started seeing a point where people were starting to ask for it, and that's kind of how businesses just come to be. Like people start asking, like, "Hey, can you make me one? Can you make me one?" Like my brother-in-law wants one. At what point did you realize that you need to take it a step further? Like obviously you don't. I'm assuming you don't make all of these in your house.
No.
Okay.
No.
Because they look well made in the sense that there's some tooling involved. There's some machinery that bends the metal. Because I don't see any hammer marks. I don't see anything like that. So, what was the process for you in finding a company to help you with this? Like, obviously that's a big step. So what does that look like?
That was a pretty tough search. I started out with, they have several companies that do mass production, or they'll go down to, one actual product that they can cut and bend for you. The company I was originally using was out of Las Vegas, but you send them a drawing, a CAD model, they cut and bend it, send it to you, and you can try it out. Had 3 or 4 built and through them, tried them out. That was where some fine tuning came in. The coworker that I mentioned that creates ATV parts, he has a machine shop fabricator not far from his house where he gets all his work done. He told me, he said, "Hey man, just try them out and see what they can do." Turns out that they can do everything that we needed to do. So they're made locally in Kinder, and about a 40-minute drive for us. And so everything's pretty local.
That's awesome, because I was about to ask you if they were local, because you mentioned Las Vegas. I was like, oh, man, he's bringing work outside of the state.
No.
All right, so made in Kinder, man. And it looks powder-coated, I'm guessing. Is that what that is?
It is a powder-coated aluminum, so it is super lightweight, because typically on the nets, if you put any kind of weight on them, it's going to sag. It's not going to do what you really want it to do. So keeping the weight down was essential, and we feel that going with the thin aluminum was the right idea.
So I feel weird that we haven't shown the camera the mount. So if you want to hold it up,
okay.
let me turn the camera. There you go. So you can see it there. So it has a cover on it, and you have the back side where it has the I guess hooks. I don't know if you want to call them a hook.
Yeah, these got these 4 fixed hooks that on a chain link fence or netting, you hook the bottom, kind of roll it up, hook it onto the top, let it fall in. It's got a good tight hold on whether it's chain link or netting. The cover is detachable. You take these 2 screws out, comes out if you're playing a night game, or if your backstops happen to be covered, you can just take the cover off very easily. We sell everything as basically a turnkey kit. So the smartphone kit comes with these 2 clips. One would be to hold your phone. The other would be for a battery pack to hold on the bottom, or, stand it up on top to keep everything charged. We have a GoPro kit that comes with one of these device holders and a GoPro attachment for your camera. And it also fits a Mevo Start camera, which would come with one of these, and then a screw to attach the Mevo. So it's fairly universal, with all the cameras that people typically stream with.
Yeah. And it's an amazing idea, because I was like, I was looking at it, and after I forget, I want to say it's probably the magic of TikTok, where obviously I saw a video of you guys talking about it, but I don't know how it came across on Facebook. Either way, that's probably my perception of thinking that you guys were in Lafayette, because Facebook tends to like circle your area,
right.
And so I was like, dude, this thing is made here. Like, in obviously I figured South Louisiana, but I was thinking like, I figured you guys were in like Broussard or something. And because the complex, like where you guys were in the videos, it looked very similar in a sense, but it's a ball field.
Right.
I just thought it was really cool, and I'm like, man, and to have the idea to put the battery pack on it, because I was like, they probably need to put a battery on this. Like, it's gonna, like, the battery, the phone's gonna die. And then sure enough, I'm looking a little closer, and like there's a battery pack underneath, and I thought there was just another camera. No, it's a whole battery pack. I'm like, dude, they thought of this thing. Like, this is cool.
There's been a little bit of thought. I worked like a year and a half on designs and prototypes. So during the lunch break at work, I would run we got a field about 5 minutes from my office, so I would run over there, hanging on the fence, take pictures, measure, go back, redesign when I got home. Had friends and family that have 3D printers, so they would print a model of it, do the same thing, take it to the field. If it didn't work, I'd cut it up and duct tape it together and try to make it work, and I just kept on, and that's how it developed into what it is right now. So.
And so, and I didn't realize streaming games was a thing. Like, I'll be honest, I've been to several games, T-ball, mostly T-ball, Wii-ball games, and I've been to a couple of older, younger teen games where they're a little bit more serious. I played ball when I was little. Of course, phones didn't exist like this. Back then, it was all the wire to the wall. But I don't ever, and maybe it's just me not paying attention, but I don't ever remember seeing anybody having a tripod set up or anything, and definitely not this contraption or anything of the sort. So what I think is interesting is that even though I haven't seen it, I have a feeling that I'm going to start seeing more people stream stuff pretty soon, because just the idea of having this, and this would give parents the idea of like, okay, maybe I should stream. But like, what would be the purpose of streaming? Is like just family wants to watch?
Typically, it's very common in travel ball. There's one designated person per team that streams, and most of us, I know in baseball, I think softball might be different, but in the baseball world, we all use Game Changer, this specific app, and it gives the play-by-play of it too, but you can link your stream to it, and so we can watch our kids. In some of my TikToks, I have clips of it, and you can see the top, but it gives the score, the count, the top of the inning, bottom, who's at bat, all of that stuff. It gives you all the stats. And so I know we'll probably get into it later, but a lot of the comments, the critical comments we get are like, well, you should go to your kid's game, not watch a stream. Ideally, yes, absolutely. But a couple weeks ago, he had to bring the oldest one to a tournament in Abbeville, and I had to stay at home with the youngest one because he was sick. So I was able to watch it, laying in bed with the other one while he's sick, but I was able to still watch it and still catch that. And it's really special for the grandparents that can make the out-of-town games and the parents that work shift work to pay for that travel ball. They really appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, even just with T-ball, like regular recreational games, I mean, there are times where, people can't make even those in-town games. Right. And, like, we'll have family, we'll give them the schedule, and they'll make 1 or 2 games. And that's, hey, if they can make that, great. If they can't no issues, but typically they make at least one. And so this right here, if they really wanted to watch, at least a portion of the game, to at least watch their child or grandchild bat for at least, that'd be really cool.
Right.
So I kind of want to shift into the social media side, because that's the big part here of how this is blowing up. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's a big part of it. So you guys started this in February, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and so the LLC was filed in November of last year, and you were working with it. And so going to launch, initially, what was the strategy to, I guess, bring it to market? Like, what did that look like for you guys? Obviously, you're the social media marketing kind of person.
Well, if we take it back a little bit further, we did launch a first launch, like January 1st.
Okay.
But the price point was higher because it was sourced differently. And we got a lot of feedback saying they liked it, but just not at that price point. They said, you got to get it under $100.
What was the price point in the beginning?
It was 120.
No, I think it was more than I think it was more than that.
Well,
I think it was like 180 for everything.
Yeah, I think everything altogether was like
180
180
for everything.
But the mount
But
itself
that
was like
that's
120.
pricey.
Yeah, production costs were different, but also in travel ball, when you get into any youth sports, like we pay $300 for bats, like it's nothing. So, that just to put it into perspective. Okay, my friend, her son had a $400 bat that broke last weekend. So like, it's just a whole, but we got that a lot, when we first launched in January. And so he said, okay, I've got to do this differently. That's when we switched to the metal fabricator in Kinder, who cuts, bends, and powder coats everything. His price is great, like we can't beat him. There's no way. And he's local. So it's perfect.
Yeah, it works out.
But yeah, we launched that at first in January. We got a lot of feedback. So it took about 6 weeks for us to resource everything, change things up, and then get it at that price point where it would work for the market. So we relaunched with this model at that price point on February 8th. And he had the idea, because the guy he works with, that's really helped us so much and given him a lot of guidance. We joined every baseball, softball Facebook group we could find. We were in Kansas baseball travel ball groups, anyone. And first we started just posting them in there. We were just posting a few at a time. And at that point, we would buy batches of 50.
Okay.
And we would sell out the 50 within 48 hours.
And this is just posting onto those groups.
That was strictly in Facebook groups.
Wow.
Strictly in Facebook groups. So
Like
we did that.
We were trying to regulate it to basically one post, a month, and just leave it at that, just to see what happens.
Were you afraid of growing too fast?
Yeah, still there.
Because again, we have no business background. We're still trying to figure this out. So we didn't want to scale too fast and it get out of control and us not know what we were doing and be able to handle it. So yeah, the batches of 50, we would get them and sell out. So we went through 2 batches of 50, and then it was on March 23rd. After he got off work, he was going to pick up a batch of 100 from the metal fabricator.
Thinking that would give us a buffer.
Yeah,
we would have a few weeks to kind of
right.
work with
You
it.
have some time.
Yeah,
right.
that would last us a while. And so at 2:00, I was like, okay, I've got an hour before I get the kids from school. Let me mess around on TikTok. Because before I was just posting on Facebook, just in Facebook groups.
So you created a TikTok account just to...
And I think I would post some on Instagram, but there wasn't a lot of traction or movement on there at all. And so I said, let me do our very first TikTok. And so I just went on there and made one and posted it. And it just was skyrocketing.
The first one?
The very first one.
First one.
That was the one that went viral.
Lucky.
But I think there is something to it with studying social media. And I say that TikTok is the most accurate diagnostic tool there is. On our business TikTok account, we didn't scroll at all on the FYP. So the TikTok algorithm had no clue where to put us. It knew nothing about us.
Yeah.
So when I posted that TikTok, it pushed us out to the general population, trying to figure us out. That's why it happened, I think. So I think it was pure luck. I think we just stumbled on it. It certainly was not strategic intelligence on my part. But yeah, I made that TikTok at like 2:00. picked the kids up from school, came home and stuff, and then he was going to pick it up. By the time he picked up the 100, I think we had sold 30 something.
Wow.
By the time we went to bed that Thursday night, we had sold 62. And he was stressing out because I do have some videos of that night, like telling him, hey, your TikTok went viral, and he's boxing him up. And he has a very dry sense of humor, very monotone voice as it is, but also he was stressing out. And a lot of people were saying, like, he looks like he's in a bad mood. He should be happy. I'm like, he's stressed out because he thought this 100 would last us for a while, and it's pretty much already gone. Yeah. But with that 100, we ended up having to put him out of stock at 10 o'clock Friday morning.
So you posted the TikTok at what point now?
At 2 o'clock on Thursday.
At 2 o'clock on Thursday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then it was almost sold out the next day?
It was 9 o'clock the next day. I put them out of stock because I was on the verge of, I was getting orders so fast that I didn't know what the cutoff point would be, to where I didn't want to cut it off and put it out of stock and then people, still have orders coming in. So I had to cut it off when I had like 5 left. And now it ended up being at 9, in between 9 and 10 on Friday morning.
And so this is not, because I know TikTok has a TikTok shop. You guys don't have a TikTok shop set up.
No.
So this is just.
That was just on the website.
Right.
And we didn't even have enough followers then to even have our website linked on there. And it was emailing us. And so once that started getting traction, then I could put the link on there, and then they would finally get to it from that.
So people were buying the product without a website link or anything? Like they were finding
They would ask what it is, and we would have to tell them, here's the website.
Oh my God.
To go to it. We could not link the site to it. So yes.
Yeah.
Like people, that's people like that's good right there. Yeah. That's wild.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys really hit on something there.
We did.
Okay, so I have the TikTok that you guys are talking about, and just for reference for those that are listening, this particular TikTok video at the moment has 5.7 million views, which is astronomical, really. But so here it is. Let me remove these logos. Give me a second. All right.
Anybody can do it. You can do it. You're fully capable of doing it. You're fully capable of doing it. 1,000%.
Just that right there. That seems like nothing.
Nothing.
That seems like nothing. I watched it over and over, and I'm like, how did that video go viral? Like
it was short.
It's very short.
Yeah.
And that's not your original audio. That's just an audio
that's a TikTok sound.
Yeah. So bizarre how that works.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you guys today have almost 10,000 followers on TikTok. I mean, that's, 4-5 months, maybe if that?
Almost 4 months. Well,
yeah.
On TikTok, March 23rd, like 2 months.
Yeah, so not long at all. God, dog. Okay. What are you guys seeing? Are you guys seeing that there's still demand there? Or what does that look like? Tell me kind of where you started with the viral video and you guys almost selling out of 100 within a day to what are you doing now to kind of, I guess, foster that growth and that demand? Like, what does that look like for you today?
Well, TikTok had been the biggest movement on there of all our social media platforms. So after that sale of 100, a lot of people would come look for it. They were mad because we're sold out. So we ended up, that was a lot of discussion on our part of what are we going to do next? He wanted to order 250. I said, Brandon, you just sold 100 in 24 hours. So 250 might last you 3 days. You've got to go bigger. So we finally said, okay, we ordered 1,000. As soon as we got the ETA from our metal fabricator and stuff like that, we opened up pre-sale orders on April 10th, and they were supposed to come in. We said we were going to ship out April 24th. Mm-hmm. We got 200 orders in 8 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, 200 orders in 8 days. And so when those came in, we got them a little early, so we were able to ship them out earlier, which was awesome. So as soon as those orders came in, it was crunch time. I had people coming to help me, apply the stickers and assemble them and do all of that. Because at that time, I wasn't as familiar with the shipping part of the website. So we needed him to do it. And he still has a full-time job that he goes to 40 hours a week.
I was about to say, you guys both have work, right?
I work from home and,
that works out.
manage the kids a lot and stuff. But, I would do a lot of it at, in between all of that other stuff.
That was on a Thursday. So I got home from work on a Thursday and immediately went into boxing orders. And
no, that was on a we got them on a Tuesday. We started shipping them out on. I had friends and stuff come over, help us do all the stickers. My friend's mom did 450 of these stickers on there in like 5 hours. My cousin did like 400 of these stickers,
But it turned into just a madhouse, and these covers, mounts, screws, everything, shipping boxes were from the garage to the living room to the dining room.
Our former dining room.
We boxed up. I actually took the following day off of work, and I stayed up with that Wednesday night. I think I went to bed at 3:30 the Thursday morning. Woke up and finished putting shipping labels on, and essentially when we woke up, it was you're running through the logistics of it, going, I don't know how we're going to haul all these to the post office. I don't know what we're going to do. So I think we got a picture somewhere. My truck bed was full to the top, and then we also had to fill up the back seat, go to the post office, have to make real good friends with the employees at the post office because they're going to give you a big cart to push them all in. And I think it took us about 15 trips back and forth to the truck to get them all in.
Jeez.
So it was a pretty wild week.
It was that night of doing the pre-orders, and I don't know why, but I love sitting doing the mundane task. Like I enjoy it. I don't know why, but I was like, I just got a whim, and I said, I'm gonna go live on TikTok with this. And so I just propped it up on my daughter's little tripod thing that she had, and when I was taping up the boxes with the baseball tape that we put on the boxes, that drew in so many people. And so I was like, okay, there's something there, because people would see the baseball tape, they would stop and ask about it, I could talk to them about it, and then we would get more followers, we would get more sales from it. So then I started utilizing TikTok Live a lot. Okay,
so are you guys seeing sales from TikTok Live? I mean, I know we talked about it right before we went live, but how many days or how long have you been doing the live videos, and what does sales look like since then?
So I guess I started at the end of April when we were doing all the pre-sale stuff. And we can just always see a correlation when I do go live, and sometimes, especially of lately, some of the lives are a complete bust and they aren't there, but that's a whole algorithm discussion. But we can see a peak on them anytime, because there's sometimes where I'm during the day and I was like, I'm going to do this. Let me go live while I do it. And he can see it on our website. Yeah. He can see visitors increase, sales increase. Somebody will email and was like, hey, I was talking to you on TikTok. This is blah, 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 And so it absolutely, we can see direct correlation.
So whenever you're talking about getting really busy and having to convert your dining room into pretty much a not a manufacturing, but a shipping facility is essentially what it is, inventory and shipping. How are you guys managing? I know that you said you work from home, but how are you guys looking at the future, and how are you guys going to manage your time now that you have this product that is gaining so much momentum pretty quickly? And by all means, you're only scratching the very minimal surface of what this baseball thing could be. I mean, there's so many other applications, like you said, baseball, softball, tennis, pickleball. Now, I'm sure anything that has a chain link fence or a net can be applied to. And I'm pretty sure you have other ideas in the works, because you're not in your head. I see it, because you're probably always working. Yeah. What is the plan to manage the growth of this? I mean, you have a full-time job, and you have a job, but this is becoming your job now. It seems like
this is our full-time job.
So what does that look like?
I mean, as far as from the marketing aspect of it, we have had contact with several people to try to get their knowledge and to kind of coach us up on what to expect whenever we do branch out as far as marketing goes. Because up to this point, we have spent I don't even know. It's a very
I think
minimal amount of money on marketing. It's
Okay, so
mainly it's been
less than
social media.
$20. We did a Facebook ad when they were back in stock, I think, or when pre-orders opened or something, or I think when they were back
boosted
in stock.
a post or something.
I did a boost post on there, but
Did that work at all?
I don't think, because it was just a picture thing. It wasn't great, but yeah, we've spent like $16. But
Right.
before that, it was $0 that we had spent on marketing.
So just getting their ideas on, obviously website designs, different areas of marketing, different types of marketing, how to go about that. We've inquired with a few people that have done well in coaching us and not asking us to say, hey, pay me $20,000 and I'll boost your product,
Yeah.
So that's been very helpful.
We were very fortunate. A phenomenal person. He actually purchased one. Then after he purchased it, he reached out to us, and he was a great asset. He said, I want to hop on a Zoom call with y'all. We had a Zoom call with us, and he said, if you do want to partner, I would do it. But in that Zoom call, he wasn't trying to sell us. He gave us some incredible advice that we wouldn't have thought of. And we've started implementing those things, and other ones we will implement. But he's been incredibly supportive of us. But we are going to bring in a business developer because, again, we have no business background. So outside of this, any bigger than this, we don't know what to do. We have no idea. So we are bringing in someone. I don't know. What are we saying about it? I don't know.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. He has.
We can't give too many details.
He has the connections in baseball and is professionally a business developer. So
and he has a ton of contacts in this baseball, softball world. So it's getting the product out there on that side. He will be very helpful, but also in the business development side of it, he'd be very instrumental in helping us strategically grow this.
So is this a partner situation, or because typically you guys probably watch the show Shark Tank a little bit. I love it. I haven't watched the last few episodes. And I need to catch up. But I've been watching it pretty much religiously since 2010. And I know that anytime a product like this starts to kind of catch wind and grow, and the founders start to find, their weaknesses, and they want mentorship and they want investment, they want to be able to scale up, they typically start applying to be on Shark Tank, or even looking at investors or venture capitalists to help seed in money to help grow more. Is that kind of the path that this is going in, or what does that look like?
Yeah, we've had several people, especially when we were just starting out. Some of them were legitimate, some of them were just people trying to get money. But we've had several people inquire about investments and providing gaining investors, and And the thing is we spent very minimal amount of money developing the product, just because of my background in design, and I have the ability to work on that at night whenever I want to. And then finding the local fabricators helped out. So honestly, we just didn't need anybody's money to get it off of the ground. And I don't want to lose my own money, much less somebody else's. So we just kept pushing them away. And then when it took off the way that it did, with zero marketing, basically, we were in the boat of, we just don't really need any help as far as financials go. Yeah. We need help on how to push it in the market and get it out into the public's eye, and just from a website standpoint, things like that. It's just a lot to figure out when you have zero experience.
And we do have a good bit of people that reach out, and they seem from reputable sources and backgrounds, and they're sending stuff, and they're like, I want to work with you, I want to partner with you, kind of things. And so it's, how do you weed through all of that and decide all of that? Yeah. So that's why we trust this person that we're going to bring in. He's going to help us through all of that stuff.
Okay. So what about partnering with the baseball fields, or a company close to that? Because I think this would be an interesting point of sale where, if you're at a field and there's a busy tournament, all weekend thing, or maybe you guys, I don't know, have the ability to set up little small booths or something at these places, but to sling them out there, is there thoughts of working with the fields or working with?
Yeah, I mean,
like that?
we have friends in tournament production. We've talked to them about, setting up a tent, things like that. We keep going back and forth on the idea because, I mean, typically we're at a baseball field at 7 o'clock on Saturday morning. We don't leave till usually 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We're already there for that amount of time. Do we really want to have to be able, lock down at a booth? And then looking at it over the last, month or so, typically our hits on the website are from like Thursday afternoon until Monday morning. It's, people see them at the fields. They're going to go on the website. The website's on the cover. They're easily going to go to the website on their phone, save it, whatever. Whenever we get home Sunday, we're going to order it. So typically we're moving between 15 to 25, from Friday to Sunday. Yeah. So setting up a booth, at these tournaments around here, sometimes they're very small, sometimes they're a little bit larger. We just don't think it would outweigh the cost of, bringing in the booth and setting everything up. Yes.
Like he explained earlier, in the Lafayette area, there may be one tournament, but they're spread out in Karen Crow and Scott and Youngsville. They're all over.
And
so
you have to move around.
If we're just at one, that's a lot of the people there that we're missing, or we'd have to move it every day. But the biggest thing is our time. We don't want to miss our kids' games because we're having to man a booth. And then we'd have to hire somebody, take them on, teach them about it, and have them running it so we can go watch our kids' games and stuff. But the thing is, they only need one per team. And there's a good bit of people that already have them, because when we play, anytime we show up at a facility, he drops the kids off wherever they need to go, and he takes a lap around, and he just looks around to see. And so you only need one per team. So not everybody needs them. So it's not like the vendors that set up to sell bats and pictures and stuff like that, where they're selling multiple to each team. So it just wouldn't be worth it for us to do that and set up a physical one, because what we might sell 10 over a weekend, whereas we can easily sell 20 on the website and do that. And so I don't think we'll do that, especially not something like this. If there's some big thing, a big facility, big complex we travel to, and all of them were at one location, that would be something more worth it. But locally, that's just not.
So it just, it doesn't make sense, I guess, more. What I think makes more sense is you have your website on it, you have your logo. Obviously, I think people are more inclined to buy whenever they see it demonstrated, and when it's hanging on a net or a chain, people are always going to be like, what is that? Right. I think that's probably the most curiosity is where it's coming from. Maybe putting like a QR code on it too to help people scan it. That
was the idea, but having to apply multiple stickers.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
cumbersome.
When it was 100 at a time, it was manageable. But when it jumped to 1,000, it became just we're just going to stick the website.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Obviously, if people want it, they're going to go to it and find it.
They're going to find it. Yeah.
Because if you didn't have a link on TikTok and they were figuring out how to get it, that's that seems like the path there.
Right.
Okay, so I guess going forward from here, what are you guys hoping to see from this? Like, do you see a long-term business out of this, or like, is this the idea to do this full time? Like, what is the outlook for you guys?
Not sure about doing it full time, but we do expect that it will be a long-term, business. Like I always say, another aspect of it that we're trying to get used to is customer service. So we sell them a product. If it gets bent, it gets damaged, we feel bad, I feel bad, or if they tell me it doesn't work, we try to work with them and, hey, try this, try that before you just send it back, because I'm not trying to sell you a product just so I can make money and then go about my day.
Yeah.
This was a general need that everybody has, a streaming person has. So we feel that having this one out there and being that the number that we have sold in a very short amount of time, it has given us a lot of feedback. And certain little areas, certain little tweaks that we can make to it to make it better. So that's currently what I'm working on now, is just to make it better, because we do see that it's going to be a long term.
Yeah. So we're getting close to the final moments here. Is we're at 49 minutes. So I kind of want to start coming to close. But so I had a couple of thoughts about it. Like, you probably thought of everything so far, to be honest. My first initial thought, now that you have a sun cover, is a solar panel.
We get that all the time. Why don't you put a solar panel on top of it? They sell solar panel battery packs. We have come up with the idea of, hey, if you've got it, you can easily set it up there. You can Velcro it. You can stick it to the top. That's on the customer basically. Mainly because if we start trying to stock a bunch of electrical parts, electronics, and people have issues with that, we're going to run into a lot of...
Same thing. We get people saying, like, put one of the little computer fans on it. I said, okay, so what when that computer fan goes out? I don't know how to troubleshoot that. And so we are trying to keep it as simple as possible. You can make it versatile and you can put those upgrades on them yourself, but then that saves us the back end of having to fix that.
So I guess making it to where people can modify it on their own is obviously people can do whatever they want. I don't know if you could like make certain parts of it more modular or like more, tinker friendly. I don't know what that would look like, if there would be like certain zip tie holes maybe that you would put in there.
I mean, with the slots on the bottom, typically, you can take these holders and flip them down to the bottom. We've had people, put a phone, a battery pack, a pocket radar, to read pitch speeds and things like that. And a GoPro, because some people use a GoPro to stream and use their phone as a hotspot, so they need them close by. So that gives them the ability to put them right next to each other, flip a battery pack to the bottom, to have all three devices on the same unit without struggling to run cords and power cords and, things like that. So,
some people have sent us pictures with like 6 things attached to it,
Good grief.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like, does it tilt? Does it bend the net? Like,
net, it's a different animal. Chain link, you're completely fine to attach basically whatever you want to.
Yeah.
You don't have any issues.
Pretty sturdy.
Yeah. The netting is it's a struggle.
On the net, if you need the cover does make it want to pull back. So you do have to kind of play with it and pull the bottom up more and try to tighten that. Or Brandon says you get closer to one of the poles on the corner where there's more tension.
And just flipping things to the bottom too and pushing them as close as you can to the netting will help it to hang straight down and not want to roll back.
There was somebody in Karen Crow. He had just a regular bungee cord thing. He hooked it right here and then up on the fence. And then it worked. And so, we've talked about that. Like, do you make some kind of strap? But he can't find the aesthetic strap that he likes, like with the carabiner, to hook it up there and to get it to help it that way.
Yeah. So really, you guys don't have to do a whole lot to this. People are kind of finding out their own methods of making certain applications work better for them. I think it's an ingenious idea. Like the sun cover, like that was a great move because if you go live with your iPhone, even just for like a minute out into the straight sun, like the sucker just wants to like overheat and says, it can't work. I'm like, really? Like I'll be out, taking photos of a construction site, literally just out there taking photos. Sometimes my phone will get hot and it'll like slow down. I'm like, I haven't even been out of the car for like a moment. Like, let me do. I had, whenever I was watching some of your TikToks, one of the things, and like seeing all the applications, seeing you guys hang them on the nets, I've seen ball players hit the ball and it comes flying backwards to the points where I've seen grown men sitting on like leaning against the fence or the net and like they almost get clobbered. This thing is pretty much susceptible to that. Has it gotten hit? Like what is the potential failure aspect of this?
First, I want to say that's the haters are what I think made the TikTok go viral because they engaged with it so much, critiquing it. But in the video, you see the phone right there. And they all say, one foul ball and your phone's ruined. And they all kept talking about the phone. Well, just in the past week, I feel like we have had a couple that took foul balls. And it bent up the aluminum frame. But one woman even said, but it saved my new phone. So it's damaging the mount, not the phone.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I guess it's just happenstance. It's just as long as it doesn't make a beeline straight to the phone. Because if it's a net, it could potentially. But
he said in net it does have a little bit of give too, so that kind of saves it with it. But it was my son's 7U team, but one of the little boys hit it straight for it. Directly hit our mount. Ours didn't budge, didn't anything. but the other team's mount that was on there fell off completely.
So they had their own version of a mount set up?
There's two other major.
Is that when a bungee cord? Yeah, there's one of them has been selling for over a decade. But a lot of people have like a bungee cord situation too, and I think that one was a bungee cord. And we've seen other bungee cord ones fall, and that's what I tried to explain to people. Like, if you're putting your phone up there, people put their phones up on the backstop with zip ties every weekend.
Yeah, so
that's
they're putting the risk
protection.
already. Yeah.
So when you do that, you assume some risk with putting that up there.
Do you guys have disclaimers saying that you assume risk by putting,
No, I mean, everybody, we hate to say it, but everybody typically knows that, hey, if I'm putting my $1,200 iPhone on the fence, you understand.
You would think that they'd be common knowledge.
Right.
And even if you have the disclaimer, that doesn't legally protect you in any way either.
But a lot of people comment on it, the phone being on the fence and the damages. Why don't you just get a GoPro for $400 or whatever it is? 89% of our sales are smartphone kits.
Well, yeah,
so,
that's the most accessible.
Everybody has one in their pocket.
We ourselves stream with our smartphone. We now have the GoPro and the Mevo just for the business, but we still stream with our smartphone.
Because nobody wants to have to figure out how to connect a GoPro to
You'll lose a hotspot.
Then you have to pay for a hotspot, monthly and all that.
And the average person, let's say Paul is buying this. Paul's a tech guy. He likes it. He thinks it's cool. He wants to be the cool grandpa. He buys this. He may not want to use a GoPro. Maybe he just wants to use his iPhone or Samsung and just pop it in there.
Well, it's like everybody says, you have a phone in your pocket.
Yeah.
You're always going to have it with you.
You have the greatest technology piece in your pocket. Why not use that?
Right.
Yeah, you're going to assume some liability on it if you do it. But
we are on year 3 of his phone. I think last year alone, you streamed over 100 games on it, and it never hit. So possible, yes. Probable, no. I even had our neighbor who was a senior at Sam Houston. They were one of the top baseball teams in the state. They were seated number 5 in the state. I had him go out there and we put it up on the net backstop. And I said, aim for it.
Purposely
go.
Aim
yes,
for it?
I have several. I have a whole little TikTok series of it. But I said, aim for it. Go ahead. He is going to play baseball. He got a scholarship at the University of Texas. Like, he's going to play at a D1 college. Because I said, if I use my son, they're going to critique. He's little. He's 11. So I said, all right, here. This is a D1 athlete. Aim for it. Go ahead. In the first round, it took him 31 hits to get it to fall off.
Good grief.
And that was an old phone we have that didn't even have a cover on it. It didn't have a case on it. That phone still works and it's still fine.
Yeah.
And I did that, and then people still critiqued it, and it wasn't good enough for them. So one thing I've learned over, owning this business and dealing with social media, you can't make everybody happy, and people will always complain no matter what.
You're never going to make everybody happy.
But we did intentionally test that.
Okay, cool, man. This is really fun. I'm happy that we were able to make this work. Yeah. I didn't realize that you guys were driving all the way from Lake Charles. So if I would have had that thought, I would have been like, oh, Lord, I would have been here before you guys were. But I just, anytime I invite somebody, I assume they're probably from this area because I try not to inconvenience anybody. So I hope I didn't inconvenience
No, not at all.
We're over here all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, good. But I love it. And it had me thinking, I'm like, man, I should probably figure out how to get my phone on the net too, and maybe I should end up getting one. But so I was like, you know what? Let me just bring these guys in and talk about it because I think it's a neat product. There's so many people playing ball around here. The sports complex are always busy, and I think, you know what? Just bringing these guys on and talking about it, and the fact that it went viral so quickly and unexpectedly was just one of those things where I'm like, you know what? Time to bring him in and talk about it because I think it's cool.
Yeah, you saw it on TikTok, and I'm kind of glad we had to reschedule because TikTok has slowed down for sure, and now my Instagram is taking off.
Weird.
We've tripled our followers, and those reels are taking off on there. So it's crazy looking at the different ones and watching the patterns on each of them.
Yeah, dude, you never know. Social media is an odd animal. You just kind of go with the ebbs and flows of it, and one day one thing's working, the next day it doesn't work, it's so bizarre. So, is there anything that we didn't mention that you guys want to talk about before we close out?
No.
Yeah. No. What was the price of the current one?
Set up just like this with the cover is $99.
Okay.
And that goes for whether it's a smartphone kit, GoPro kit, or Vivo Start. The same exact kits, just without the cover, are $75.
Okay, so you can buy it without the cover. You can make it cheaper if you wanted to.
Typically,
Cool.
we tell them, it's
The cover's a good.
buy it with the cover because you're going to need it, but also you can remove it whenever you don't. So
Yeah. All right. Well, cool, and it's aluminum, so obviously it's the lightest metal that you can use. So yeah, you guys thought of a lot like that.
Not you guys. That was on him.
Oh, well, I say, you know what? You guys are a team. I just say you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the website.
Okay.
So we're going to, let me turn on that thing real quick. Okay. And so here is the website. Let me turn off my logos there. And so obviously they have a Memorial Day code you can see right there. So if you want to get one now, you can take 10% off. And so, yeah, obviously who did your website?
That was me.
Yeah.
It was made in a rush.
Yeah. it was
Hey,
made
you
in
know what
about-
though? It's doing
Yeah.
its job.
Well, we get people tell us all the time, you need to update the website. I said, well, I mean, it's working.
We haven't had time, but
Yeah.
when we leave here this afternoon, we are going to meet the photographer. We started getting professional pictures. Today, we're going to work on the photos, and we're going to have someone design all that.
Do you have someone that's set up, or you have someone picked out for your website already?
We'll see. I don't know.
Somewhat.
Because he did see that you did that.
Yeah.
That's been a discussion. That's been a discussion.
Hey, I just had to throw it out there. I do websites. Just a shameless plug. But hey,
Yeah.
you know what? No harm, no foul. If
No,
you guys,
no, not at all.
whoever you guys pick, that's going to be great. Because I'll be honest, just like you, I use the most popular website design hosting. So like Squarespace, Wix, WordPress. I'm a big fan of Squarespace, and
Really, because we were going to leave that.
We were
We're on
gonna go to
Wix now,
Shopify.
but we wanted to move to Shopify.
Shopify is great.
Yeah.
Shopify has everything contained into one package. Squarespace kind of does that too, but Shopify is like got so much.
Yeah, they
And
said Shopify is basically like e-commerce that also does websites, and he explained it as Wix is a website, developer
Yep.
that also has a store on it.
Yeah.
So he said if we would flip flop to Shopify, he would think it would make it look a lot better.
Yeah, and
So,
in Shopify, you can actually you have to pay a little bit more for like templates that you like that may be a little different. But I used a Shopify account once to try to create an online boutique to sell shirts and stuff, and I kind of messed around with it. It was great, but yeah, man, this is kind of one of those tangents that we probably should have ended the show already. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and close out, and so. Thank you guys for coming in and talking about your product, which is really cool. I'm glad that it's a Louisiana-based product, because if this sucker blows up and it's in Costco and Sam's Club everywhere and wherever else it goes, I want to be like, hey, I had those guys on my podcast.
that's right,
that was
that's
pretty
right.
cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad to have you guys on, and thank you for driving all the way from Lake
we
Charles.
appreciate it. It was
Thank
fun.
you.
It was fun.
Well, cool. Well, yeah, guys, if you want to check them out, it's the Nexus Mount. If you're a ball parent by any means, you might want to check it out. So if you're a fan of streaming, or if you want to make sure Momo and Pawpaw sees their grandkids play, check it out. It's a great product. And yeah, that is it. So we'll see you in the next one. All right. Thank y'all, guys.
Appreciate it.